Welcome to Manifest Mindset by Affirm Afform Attract. Your place to come to when you need tips and advice when manifesting. We are an affirmation channel and you can find all our affirmation videos on YouTube. Okay, we are back. This is part 2 of me talking about detachment for money. So I'm just going to pick up where I left off. So if you're watching this first, please go to part 1 so you know what I'm talking about. Yes, guys. So it really awoke something in me. And yes, the basic, I don't think I'm worthy. Am I really going to be able to get a pay rise or be a successful business person? Whatever those kind of, I'm going to call it basic types of thinking. It's not basic, but but it's the one that we forget about, the one that's really knitted in the fabric of our subconscious mind, because they say it's your subconscious mind is what's leading, is the driving force of where you are today. Yeah, I can affirm all I like, but the play of my life as it's currently happening is a reflection of my inner thoughts and what I think. Yeah, I might have little chunks and bits of it that kind of manifest, but it goes to show that I'm not entirely there yet. And this detachment from money, guys, oh my gosh, I just gave an example of about the foundation, how back in the day I was like, yeah, I can't afford foundation, it's too expensive. No, it's not that the foundation was expensive, I just didn't have the money. But when I started my channel, all of a sudden that money, that was like, the prices would have been different from the 90s to the early 2000s. Obviously prices would have changed, but I no longer deemed it as expensive because it was part of what I do. I did skincare reviews, makeup reviews, and I did gigs, so I wore makeup anyway. So that kind of changed my perspective on spending £10 or even £12 for a foundation. £20 was a bit of a stretch. So then when I up it by £10, and it's like, it's a bit expensive. However, in my first part of the podcast, I did say I did look at it as quite expensive, but really and truly, when I actually look at it, if I was to spend £20 on a foundation, I probably won't think of it as expensive. I think maybe I should have made that clarified in my other podcast, that thinking back then £20 was a stretch. Now £20 for a foundation, I don't find it expensive. I just bought myself a £30 Fenty foundation a couple of months back. Yeah, so again, my perspective on life and things change, and they can change. And anyway, going back to kind of like, I'm gonna just really kind of just be all over the place with this podcast. Sorry, I apologize. But because there's so many elements when it comes to detaching yourself from money. One is believing that you can win the lottery, get an increase in your pay rise, have a successful business. Yeah. Number 2, what you think about money when you're spending. Do you keep seeing things and because you don't have the money, think that it's expensive? Just because you can't afford it right now, it doesn't mean that it is expensive. Our attachment to money comes in different ways, and it's for you to find out what that is. Mine were the obvious ones, maybe like just, I don't believe I can maybe be a success, or it's really hard. I don't consciously think that, but I know that maybe in some of my subconscious thinks that. Yeah, so I don't actually think, oh no, it's never going to happen to me. I don't actually say that. I'll always say things are working out, things are going to go my way, things are gonna be better for me. I always come from that perspective, but in my subconscious, there's a doubt there. But moving on from that one, guys, when you are about in life and you see something that you cannot at the moment afford, do not say it's expensive or too expensive. Yeah? Just look at it, and if it's something that you want, just say, okay, this is what I want. I want to get that. How am I going to achieve it? I'm going to get a second job, put it on a credit card, get a loan, depending on what it is. Yeah, whether it's a a facial product or a car or whatever. I mean, when it's let me scrap cars, because cars and that really high purchases like that, you tend to gonna get a loan or get credit and you pay off every month. And obviously you got to work out your finances at the end of the month, whether or not you can afford it. So let me just talk about normal stuff like maybe slightly luxury cream, face creams, or things that are just a little bit more expensive than you would pay. Yeah, it could be a nice glass set or cutlery set or a plate set. Let's just keep it kind of mediocre. Yeah, not obvious things like luxury holidays and stuff like that. I just want to keep it basic. You might see a really nice mug set, like a set of 6 mugs, really nicely designed, and they are £45 for 6. And you're just like, is it expensive, or is it the fact that you don't have, or you can't feel as though you can't justify spending £45 on 6 mugs? I mean, they're really nice. Like, they're kind of like not everybody will have. There's something about it that goes with your home decor that you've got. Like, it's really suited. And if you're like, oh, I just can't justify spending £45 on 6 mugs, even though I get it, I understand. Like, I mean, who's not there? Who hasn't thought that? But then it's a problem. Thinking like that is a problem. And even if, say for example, you was earning £1,000 a week, 1,500 quid a week, yeah, so you bring home between 4 and 6k a month, right? 4 and 6k a month. Your mortgage, your rent is 1,500. You've got a good few grand afterwards, for you to spare. If you still think, even if I had money, I still just don't think it's worth spending £45 on a month, even though you can easily afford it. That's something that you might want to look and work on. I get it. There's some things in life that we will spend money on. Like, I like to spend money on my tech. Yeah. I go with what I can stretch myself. Because, like, I ain't going to lie to you. There's times I'm just thinking, I can't really afford that. Like, I've got bills coming out. I might not have worked for a little while. Income is slowing down. But if I had room on my credit card and I can stretch for an extra 100 or 200, I'm going to do it. Because there's certain things that I will spend. Like, I bought my keyboard. I had an old keyboard my dad bought when I was in my childhood. Like, and it kind of just stopped working. And I was looking for a keyboard, and I thought, I might get one that I might take to choir with me. So when I'm with my choir patrons, I can bring my keyboard and, because I want to practice my piano and do that. Then I was like, I was thinking of different ways of different type of keyboards, or, shall I do that? Should I get one that's not too heavy that I can take with me? Or should I just get one that's just going to stay in my yard? And I had these like fold up ones. And I was looking at those. I thought, these are quite exciting and quite new. And I went on YouTube and, I just went through the reviews. And anyway, cut long story short, I ended up spending £440 something on a semi-weighted keyboard, because I did want a semi-weighted keyboard. But I was torn between having a keyboard that I can take, because I don't have a car. And where I need to go is just literally like a 15-minute walk. So it's literally down the road, yeah. But buying something I can take with me, or something that's going to be stable in my house. And I opted for the stable in my house. Even when I used to think like that, I do check myself. I'm like, then you're kind of saying that you're not going to have money to have 2 keyboards. One that's stable in your house, and one that is light enough for you to carry on your back. And even though, yes, I have got a mic, the mic that I'm speaking to you now, it's one of the Shure mics. You will see lots of people making their YouTube videos and doing their podcasts using this mic. I love it. I can't remember how much I spent. A few £100 I spent on it. I haven't looked back. When I recorded on it, amazing. But anyway, I spent this money on the mic. Don't regret it. I went and bought a webcam for my computer. And again, I spent a little bit of money on it. I just one of those people that I may not use it all the time, but I just certain things like my tech, I like to be the best. My speakers are M Audio, for my computer. I have a Behringer interface. So that's where I plug it in so I can speak through you. And when I'm doing my singing, doing my arrangements or whatever, that is what I use. So there's certain things that I don't mind spend money on, and that I would kind of stretch, even have to put it on my credit card and just pray that I got the money to pay it. And that's what I do. And there's some things I'm just I don't know if I'll pay money for that. But I want to be that person who will see something and say, because I like it, I will pay the money. Again, I'm not going to be stupid. I'm not going to say, for example, going back to the example, if I see a notepad that's handmade and someone was selling it for £30 and it was 50 pages, it's like, nah. It's going to be like, even if I'm earning £1,000 a day, I just probably not going to do it. But I'd rather have that feel like, no, it's just not worth it. And even if I can afford it, I just don't want to pay that money. But I'd be okay with that, as opposed to, I'm making this judgment because I don't have that money in my pocket. Spending £8 on a notepad is, whatever you want to call it. But if I'm earning £1,000, I want it to be that I can afford it. Even if I was earning £400 a day, I will buy it, and it's not going to mean anything. I don't want to be in a position where I can afford it and I'm still like, oh God, really? It's just like, I don't know. That same type of feeling, guys, that's part of having attachment to money, unhealthy attachment. And sometimes when you're there manifesting and affirming, and if you can get there, great. If you're still struggling, yes, it could be because you're wavering. 1 minute you're affirming and visualizing, the next you're sulking and feeling sorry for yourself. But sometimes you can just deep down, but the swaying and the feeling sorry for yourself could just be there's a deep rooted subconscious thought that you are having that's keeping you attached to money. I knew I had some, but I discovered even more. Or maybe I discovered it and forgot about it, and then during the conversation with my friend, it kind of brought it to light. I just want you to think about, when it comes to money, think past you just swaying when you're trying to affirm, but also think of it. Sorry, this thing's just popping up on my computer. But also just think of it as like, every time something comes up and you want to get something, or you see, you're like, oh gosh, the first thing you think about is expensive. I can't afford it. That's having attachment to money. Because you're really telling yourself you can't afford it. And it's also kind of telling yourself that you're not going to afford it tomorrow. Because how do you know? You might not pick up a scratch card and win 100k, and then you can afford it tomorrow. But if you're walking around saying, oh, I can't afford it, you're kind of professing that you are going to continue not affording it. Yeah. And if you look at things as expensive, again, you're doing the same thing. If you look at things as expensive according to what you have in your bank account, that's attachment to money. So you need to let go of that. You need to kind of just say, oh, do you know what? This is all right, Yeah, so I can't get that now, but I will get that later, like when the money comes. If it is something that you would never spend your money on, like no, I just wouldn't. Maybe just avoid it in your head altogether. Just like scroll past. Just don't see something and do what I did. I just looked at this and I said it to my friend. It's like, really, like, come on now, like, really? I'm not saying that the person is not worth it. I mean, the design was, okay. It wasn't nothing majorly special. It was pretty. It was cute, but I just like, huh? I was just like, I said to my friend, nah, I want to get past that. I want to look at something, see something in that type of caliber and say, yeah, the same way I look at me getting my microphone, my music stuff, my keyboard, anything that's to do with kind of like tech stuff like that. Equipment, that I look at like something like that in the same way. Like I said, like some people spend more money on the trainers than they would on their clothes. Like me, I will buy cheap clothes, but I will spend money on lingerie because lingerie is my thing. I like lingerie. I like underwear. People might think that's weird because no one can see it. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's just that it makes me feel good, and that's what I like. Clothes, don't care what clothes I wear. Now, I want to go, sorry guys for a long podcast, but it has to be done. I want to go back to what I said in my first podcast. What I talked about is my relationship to money and myself, and personalizing, say, what I will sell my products to and how much I will sell it for. And like I said, I like to be an advocate of fill that gap in the market where, when people want something and they just don't always have the cash, and to kind of fill that gap for some of my patrons out there. And again, through just discovering myself, it was just like, but why are you doing that? Why is it your business? If someone wants something, then it's up to them and their responsibility to afford it. Why would you sacrifice your full potential for someone else? Because guarantee you, people don't have much money. If they want that Louis Vuitton bag, whether they put it on a credit card, get 6 jobs, they're going to go out of their way to try and get that bag or that dress or that holiday. So why are you going to kind of lower your financial goal that you set yourself for other people? I mean, that's just who I kind of am, like I can't help it, But it got me thinking, past wanting to do that and helping people and lending a helping hand, but it kind of more, I think, spoke to me and my relationship with money. Because as much as I've been affirming, and yes, trust me guys, I've been affirming and things have been coming through, but not the kind of coming through I need. I need something that's a little bit more consistent and bigger and with much more longevity to it. But I think it speaks to a subconscious thought that I'm thinking, oh, I'm always going to be struggling. I'm always never going to have money or enough money. And I discovered that, oh my gosh, I still have that type of thought. So my main conscious thought is like, things are working out for me. I know I can feel that things are working out for me. But my deep rooted seed is, no, you don't. You don't really think that, because look at your life and look how you're doing things. And it just kind of dawned on me. It's like, I genuinely want to help people. I genuinely want to give people a chance to afford stuff and do whatever. And then a part of me is like, but yes, you are doing that. That's the real reason. But then maybe another part of the reason, because you see yourself as some of these people, which I did, hence why I'm doing it. But then you're also kind of advocating for the fact that you're never going to have enough money to get stuff. Guys, it was mind-blowing. It was so mind-blowing. I was just like, wow. So when I make my products now, and I do my products, it's like, I'm not going to do them so cheap, like 50p or 50 cents or something. It's not going to be that type of cheap. But it was going to be, put it this way, if I had a financial goal to earn money, it would take me a long time to get there. Yeah, so not as cheap as that. But it was just, and I was just like, because I've seen people, and I see how some people go for the really cheap pricing of stuff. And some people, there's a spectrum. And from all spectrums, people make money. Yeah, obviously you may reach a financial goal quicker than others, depending on how much you charge for your products. But some of them are more successful than others. But someone who sells it cheaper doesn't necessarily gain more sales and vice versa. Yeah, so it is just kind of, obviously there's lots of elements and factors to it, but I've been in the selling business for a while. I used to make handmade cards and jewelry and stuff, and I would see prices vary, and there was a point where I thought some people were even selling it cheaper than me, and I was just like, no, this is not good. Because sometimes how people think, well, if they're selling it for that, why can't you sell it cheaper? And and you find, well, I need to make money. That's my whole point. This is a business, not a charity. And sometimes I got to remind myself is that, yeah, you want to help people and you want to give people this, give people that, but you're not a charity. You're still a business person. Yeah, you're doing it because you choose to, and it's your passion, and you feel in your spirit that you want to do it. But you're not a charity, because you would like to do this full time or do this without having to go and go to work and earn to pay your bills. You like this to pay your bills, whatever you're doing. And it was revolutionary. Like sometimes it's like you go through cycles until it clicks. And it's clicked for me before, and maybe in a different way, but didn't stick. And sometimes you just go through stuff, you have conversations, almost like these little journeys and steps and stuff leads you back round full circle, and hopefully that you will pick it up and then you'll make changes. And continue with pricing again, because it's all to do with money. I think there's always a conversation I had with my friend. I think maybe there's a again, in the subconscious, that I think, well, maybe people won't buy from me, or people won't like not like my stuff. I know I produce good stuff, and I know I have talents and I have skills. Some people are better than me, I'm better than some people, and when I look at my stuff and I'm like, you do good quality stuff, your videos are good, you're good, you're fine. So a big part of me believes I'm okay, because trust me guys, sometimes I had to do some work on myself, because I'm so hard on myself is detrimental to what I want to do. Just, I know I got some good stuff, I got some nice stuff, I got some skills. I'm not saying I'm the most talented or skillful person in the world, but my skills and talents aren't that bad. But then there's a part of me that, again, it starts dividing itself from attachment to money to attachment to a kind of self-worth. So when I look at the stuff that I do, or the things that I do, and all the rest of it, one minute I'm like, yeah, I'm good, don't put yourself down, blah blah blah. And then the other part of me is like, oh, but maybe people might not want to buy from me. I've got no evidence why they wouldn't, because you've been around enough on the internet and seen enough, and you've seen a lot of rubbish, and you've seen a lot of good stuff, and a lot of mediocre stuff, and okay stuff, and really, really good stuff, and excellent stuff. You've seen them all, and every single one of those people in those categories makes money, or they get an audience attention. They've got the subscribers, they've got whatever it is they want. It works. Yeah, and that does give me confidence, because sometimes when you are down on yourself, you do start to think, is it me? Am I not good looking enough? Is my voice not nice? Is this wrong? Is that? Trust me, you've seen it, you've heard it. Yes, you're not going to like everybody, but you have seen people who you may not resonate with. And when I mean not like someone, not like them as a person, like you just don't resonate with them, but they've got hundreds or thousands, I'm going to say hundreds of thousands of subscribers or followers, and people buy from their merch and all the rest of it. And it may not be your cup of tea, and that's fine, but it doesn't mean that their worth is diminished because you don't resonate with them. And sometimes again, that's part of when you're trying to manifest something, and I haven't manifested something. It's like, because my subconscious, there's a little tiny, but voice is very quiet. It's very quiet, but it's there and it's consistent. They're kind of dangerous because I shout over myself, and in my heart, I believe certain things, but maybe it's that tiny core that still needs to be extinguished, that is still powerful enough to at some point come through, especially when you don't see the results that you're getting, you don't see what you want out of life. Yeah, and again, that entangles with, especially if I'm selling a product, and the product is a financial, monetary items that need to be exchanged, it's like, oh, am I worth it? Am I worth getting paid that money? Will people want to pay me that money for something? I've bought products from people, and I bought them if they're doing similar stuff for me because I'm interested in what they've got, but also I do it as a kind of research. And I'm like, gosh, they're charging, say, $7 for this, yeah, or $15 for this. And me, I'd be like, oh, in my head, if I was doing the same similar product, yeah, like a downloadable product, I'd be thinking, oh, but will people want to, I think I went from, not just will people pay this money, but will people pay this money with me? Would they spend their money with me on that? And there's always like that little doubt, that there's little voices in your head. And again, it was an attachment of money. So my attachment of money then became kind of like a self-worth thing, tiny bit of self-worth. I know what I got. I know what talents I got. I know what skills I have. But then sometimes it's the quiet, smaller voices and thoughts that are the biggest problem and the biggest thing that's stopping you from getting to where you want to go and where you need to be. So guys, I want you to think about that. This is a money podcast here. When you want to manifest money in whatever shape or form that you're doing, through business, making sales, whether it's in a job, the same thing in a job. You're talented, you're skillful, you're good for a job. Then this little voice will just start talking nonsense in your head, and they start telling you just little things. Oh, but that person's younger, they prettier, maybe because whatever. You just start saying stuff, and then you start feeling not worthy of being paid the increase in payment that you want. Say, for example, if you're going for a different position in your job, and sometimes these little voices that you need to snuff out. You need to say no. You need to take a stop, affirm it, visualize it, and again, just I am worthy. I am worthy. People are willing to pay for my services. My place that I work at, my managers are gonna promote you. They know what I've got. They know what I'm worth. They know that I'm good for it. I'm worthy. I know I'm worthy. Everybody else pales into comparison with me, and that's when strong affirmations can come in. I am the one that people always want to choose to do the high jobs because I'm very good at it and amazing. I'm the best at it, and you keep affirming it. The same with me. I affirm some things like I always get the subscribers, people get listeners, people. I do the basic ones, but there's sometimes when you discover that I've got to now do the deep dive ones that, I am worthy. I'm more than worthy. People always want to but I'm affirming it coming from that perspective, as opposed to affirming the similar, affirmations on just, I'm just going to affirm because I want some more sales, I want some more clients, I want more subscribers, YouTubers, whatever it is that you want to affirm. When you affirming it from one perspective, and you will believe that, that's fine. But if there's a second perspective that you haven't really thought about, maybe when you're affirming, you got to have that in your head. So like when I'm affirming, I was like, people can't wait to spend money and buy from me no matter what I charge, because they think it's worth it. And I just affirm it, but I'm thinking of that. Your affirmations might change slightly to suit what your deep thoughts are. So rather than just, like I said, your surface one, I'm amazing, I'm good, I'm an excellent business person, people always want to hire me, I always get paid the top money to do the top jobs and blah blah blah. If you got something more that you're attached to, is like, I am worthy. Everybody knows I'm worthy for this job. I know I can do this job. I always get picked above all else because people notice my skills. People notice my talent. People are willing to pay me for the work that I do. Anyway, folks, I might touch up and do another podcast again. May not be a part 3, but I might do this because I think this is very interesting subject to talk about. And again, I kind of I'm always realizing and working on myself, but that bit, I think, like I said, might have popped up before, but it really stuck with me. Guys, I hope you found this podcast helpful. If you have any type of things that's holding you back, put it down, write it down. I might even put a little question, a little poll or something, and you can answer that. Anyway, guys, have an amazing world, amazing life, amazing day, amazing whatever. See you next time.